We are studying Snakam Abhyasaha Adhyayanam Prachatatamasti Atmane Padas Padam Atmane Padidhatunam Vishaye Adho Laklakar Rupam. So Parasmai Padidhatunam.
I'm not able to hear. Is it audible for others?
It is, yeah, it is lesser audible.
Yeah, we can hear.
It is low, Mahoday.
It is what?
Your voice is low. It can hear, but it's low.
I'm on a different computer. I'll try.
We can manage.
I can hear clearly, actually.
Okay. No problem. आत्मनेपदी धातूनां विषये अनन्तरं पूर्वं परस्मैपदी धातूनां विषये अभ्यासः जातः अस्ति केषाञ्चन लकाराणां विषये कथा के लकाराः अधीताः अस्माभिः सुरेश महोदय पूर्वं
There is no sound.
I think there is a problem with the
Hari Om, sir. There is no sound.
I can hear clearly.
maybe you can, Suresh Modi, you can say you can log out and log in.
No, I can hear you.
No, but can you just announce for people who cannot hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, Mahodaya says that for those who are not able to hear, maybe just rejoin the session once. I can hear you.
We can hear, but your voice is lower compared to other times.
I don't know what else I can do.
Yeah.
It's manageable.
Yeah, it is. But probably for some others it is difficult.
Yeah, slightly little low. Maybe volume or something should be adjusted.
Because I'm using a different small computer and using its inbuilt mic.
I'm getting other sounds very nicely, but yours.
No, it's audible and clear.
Very clear, I don't know.
For me also, Mahodaya.
It's clear.
Yeah. के लकारा जाता महोदय?
Lat lakara, Vartman kala. Lang lakara, Bhuta kala. Lut lakara, Bhavishya kala. Lot lakara, Agnya prarthana. Ling lakara, Bhavishya. I remember Lung lakara, I forgot what it is.
लृङ् लकारः क्रिया प्रतिपत्तिः इत्युक्ते कंडीशनल would have so
these are the five.
Yeah, lat, lung, lot, rit, lung. Yeah, please, no. You'll have to cooperate. Both those who are not speaking, please keep your line muted. Okay. So these five lakaras, first, today we'll spend some time in understanding some of or clarifying some of the doubts. We'll go through this homework also, because I have received many homework from many of you, but there are some corrections needed in understanding, basically. So we'll go through them also. So first, I would like to touch base upon the this one, lang lakara rupam or bhuta kala in general. So I think there is some confusion, as Karta Mahodaya has brought up, and it could be for others also, that what is a bhuta kala rupam? So there is a table posted here. Right? Where was the table posted? On our class page of Kriyapada Rupani. So the confusion, I think, is about the Kavata Rupam and the Lang Lakara Rupam. Okay. Table of work forms. Okay. So what is the Lakara? See, Lakaras are applicable. Lakara is actually Pratyaya. Lakara is a kind of Pratyaya, but it is applicable to dhatus, and when it is applied to dhatus, then a Kriyapada form is formed by adding a Lakara, and Lakara is a Pratyaya, and the Pratyaya changes to different forms depending on the type of the Lakara, in whether it is a Lat Lakara, Lit Lakara, etc. And then it comes into the final Kriyapada form in that tense or in that sense. Whether it could be Lot Lakara, Lat Lakara, etc. So, in this table, Asti, Anayati, first of all, let me ask you, is there anybody who has any doubt or do not yet understand what is a dhatu? So I guess everybody knows what is a dhatu.
Moolapada.
Yeah, Moolapadam. So dhatus, approximately there are about 2000 that we know already. So, and Moolapadam, and basically it's a Moolapadam for Kriyapadam also and Namapadam also. This is the very critical thing to understand. There are only two types of words in Sanskrit language as per Sanskrit Vyakaranam. What are they? They are, okay, what are they? Can anybody?
Namapadam and dhatu.
No, Namapadam and
Namapadam, Kriyapadam.
Namapadam, Kriyapadam.
Yeah. Are you able to see my screen? No, I think something happened.
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah, but I'm writing. I think you won't.
No, Mahodaya.
No, writing we cannot see.
We are seeing the Kriyapada Rupam table.
Let me see what is it.
Table that's visible here.
Okay, now that should be. Okay. So Kriyapadam and Namapadam. There should be no doubt here. Only two types of words in Sanskrit language: Kriyapadam and Namapadam. And what are the examples of these two types? Namapadam. Let's say, what are the examples of Namapadam?
Ramaha, Krishna.
Ramaha, Krishnaha, Govindaha. Kriyapadam is
Sakam, Kandukaha.
Kriyapadam, Davat.
Visheshana also comes in Namapadam, no?
Visheshanam
Yes.
also comes in Namapadam. And Avyam also comes in Namapadam. Like Rama, Krishna, Govinda, Parvati, Ganpati. So everything, Uma, Rama, all these are names we saw. And also Balakaha, this Samanya Namapadani Santi, Yatha, Balakaha, Balika, Vatayanam, those also. And their vibhakti forms also. And the avyams like Cha, Api, Putra, Kim, Kiyat, anything, and their other forms also, Kaha, Kake, etc. Sarvaha, Sarvam, Sarve, Visheshanam, Unnataha, Unnata, Sundari, etc. And the Nipatas. The Nipatas are also avyas, which are like Cha, Api, Kila, Eva, etc. Those are also anything Namapadam.
That means except Kriya Padam, everything is Namapadam.
Yeah, exactly. Now, for that we have to be clear about what is Kriya Padam, correct? So, if you understand what is Kriya Padam, then it is easy. So, everything else is Namapadam. Now, interesting thing is that for both of these, the origin, the Moola Padam is Dhatu only. Maybe except the Nipatas. The Dhatus. Dhatu is said to be original or considered to be original Pada. Not Pada actually, Pada is a technical word. The original or the Moolam, I will just say Moolam, of or the root of both of these types, Kriyapadam and Namapadam. The system of Sanskrit Vyakarana is structured in such a way that using this root or dhatu, some pratyaya is added, some affix, you can call it affix or suffix, or you just call it pratyaya. Some pratyaya is added to bring it into the final usable form of Kriyapadam or Namapadam. So this is a basic thing we have to understand. There is nothing difficult to understand or to get this concept. So entire Sanskrit Vyakaranam or grammatical structure is based on this concept that there is a root dhatu and we add a pratyaya. So entire thing is based on pratyayas. Different kinds of pratyayas are there to derive Kriyapadam or a Namapadam. So what kind of pratyaya is added? That is the subject of Vyakarana study. But some of the pratyayas we already know. Now, if we add certain pratyayas to a dhatu, in the process, finally it becomes a Namapadam. And then by adding certain pratyayas, finally it becomes Kriyapadam. It is not only one single pratyaya we add to a dhatu, then suddenly we get the Namapadam or Kriyapadam. For example, to create a Namapadam, first we have to have something called Pratipadikam. Its predecessor or previous stage is called Pratipadikam. The previous stage of Namapadam is called Pratipadikam. So most of you, I think all of you, we have studied this. Remember this Pratipadikam. Pratipadikam is the Moolam of a Namapadam, its previous stage or a raw stage. To the Pratipadikam, we add some pratyaya, like Vibhakti pratyaya, basically, which is called a Sup pratyaya in Vyakaranam, and then it becomes a Namapadam, which is a usable format, like Rama, Sita, etc. Then Pratipadikam is its origin or the base form, like Rama, Ramena, Ramabhyam, so all those are the Namapadam. Its base form is just Rama. Rama Akaranta Pullinga Pratipadikam Asti Rama iti. Now how Rama itself, Pratipadikam itself is derived, that is again its previous stage is dhatu. Okay? There will be, for example, Rama, there is a dhatu called Rama, okay? Which we have studied, right? We are familiar with Rama. Rama dhatu in Atmanepada. When we are studying the Atmanepada, we know Ramate, Ramete, Ramante. That is the Ram dhatu. Ramate is not the dhatu. Ram is a dhatu. By adding a certain pratyaya, it comes into a pratipadikam form called Rama. Rama is a pratipadikam. And then by adding again additional pratyayas, which are the supratyayas, then it takes into different vibhakti forms. That's 8 by 3 table. So this is the process or the steps of deriving Namapadam. So dhatu plus some pratyaya plus supratyaya or vibhakti pratyaya becomes Namapadam. That dhatu plus some pratyaya, what is that some pratyaya? It could be different pratyayas are there. Basically, it's a krut pratyaya. So one of the pratyayas is called krut pratyaya. There are different categories of pratyayas are there. So one category we know already by name like supratyaya. Supratyaya is vibhakti pratyaya. Another category is there called krut pratyaya. Krut category. It is a group of pratyayas. Krut pratyayas are there. So these are added to dhatus. When it is added krut pratyaya, one of the krut pratyayas is added to dhatu, it becomes a pratipadikam first. Then pratipadikam plus supratyaya. Supratyaya is also a set of pratyayas. There are 21 supratyayas. One of the supratyayas we add to pratipadikam, then it becomes Namapadam in one of those 8 by 3 vibhaktis. So these are the basic steps. Now, what about Kriyapadam? Kriyapadam also starts with a dhatu. That is the root for all the words. Dhatu, dhatuhu. And dhatuhu plus lakara. Starts with lakara. Lakara is just the name of a pratyaya basically. And this lakara based on what tense or kala or a mood or the sense like a lot ajna pratana etc. So also lakara. So based on that, this lakara changes to a different pratyaya, and then one of the ting pratyayas we need to add. Ting pratyayas, there are 18 ting pratyayas. 9 ting pratyayas are for parasmayapadi. Parasmaypada. When dhatu is a parasmaypada, one of the 9 ting pratyayas. Why? One of the 9 ting pratyayas has to be added. Why there are 9? Because Kriyapada form basically has a 3 by 3 table, right? Like
Purusha, Uttama Purush, Madhyama,
Purusha and
Pradama.
Purusha Vachana.
Yeah, so based on Purusha and Vachana, there is 3 by 3. In case of Namapadam, based on the Vibhakti, it is 8 by 3 table. But here in the Kriyapada case, is 3 by 3. So there are total 9 ting pratyayas for Parasmaypada case, and 9 different ting pratyayas for Atmanepada case. So now, when we add dhatu plus lakara, so lakara changes to ting pratyaya. Now, when we add this, so again there are additional steps. There could be additional pratyayas which we might need in between, like vikarana pratyaya, which I think we already talked about it. Based on the dhatu guna, it could be vikarana pratyaya, and there could be other pratyayas like it pratyaya, like set, wait. We looked at that also. So there could be additional pratyayas needed in order to bring it into a final kriyapada form. Suppose if you want to bring it into like a pathati form, we start with the dhatu called patha, then we add, first we have to think of what lakara, what kala we are going to use, we want to derive it into. And suppose it is a vartamana kala form, we have to add the lat lakara, lat is the pratyaya. So then, because it is lat pratyaya, then one of the ting pratyayas will come there based on the Purusha Vachana, and because it is lat lakara, that ting, for example, tip is for the Prathama Purusha Ekavachanam, tip, that is the first ting pratyaya. Then tip changes to something else because it is a lat lakara. So these are the steps now. That is the study of Vyakarana, to study the steps of derivation. So finally, it becomes into Kriyapada form like Pathati. Okay. Now, what are the Kriyapadas, these thing pratyayas? In Lat Lakara, for example, in the Parasmadi form, we looked at Patati, Patata, Patanti, Patasi, Patatha, Patata, these kind of forms. Gachati, Gachata, etc. Then, if it is a Lang Lakara, which is to be used in the Bhutakala, which is some forms are shown here for some dhatus in Ekavachana and Bahuvachana forms on your screen. So, like we have Udatishtat, Akarot, Akrinat, etc. So, these are the Bhutakala forms. And then we have in the Rit Lakara, Bhavishyat Kala, Samanya Bhavishyat Kala. There are two Bhavishyat Kalas in Sanskritam. One is Rit Lakara, another is Lut Lakara. So we have looked at this Rit Lakara, which is called Samanya Bhavishyat Kala. The forms are like Bhavishyati, Bhavishyata, Bhavishyanti. And then the next one we looked at is Lot Lakara, Ajna Prarthana, which is like Gachatu, Pathatu, Pathantu, Krinatu, Krinantu, etc. Right? So, any other Lakara we studied? One is Lat. Oh, Rung. So, Rung also conditional. So, if it is Pathati, for Pathadhatu, what is the Rung Lakara form? Prathama Purusha Ekavachana. Rung.
Apatishat.
Apatishat. Apatishat. Agamishat. So these kind of forms will be there in the Rung Lakara. So other than this, very important, other than this, these kinds of forms, these are some of the, only these 4 Lakaras we studied, but there are other 6 Lakaras also. So, other than these Lakara forms, any other form is a Namapadam, is not Lakara. So, coming to this again, Bhuta Kala here. The one is Lang Lakara form is Bhuta Kala, which is, for example, if you take Apathat, Balakaha Pustakam Apathat, Balakaha Shlokam Apathat. So in that, boy studied, boy read a shloka or a book, Pustakam. So that is obviously Bhutakala. Now, Lang Bhutakala. And here we have another form which we have studied, which is called Tavatu Pratyayanta Rupam. There is a typo here, and Pratyayanta. Tavatu Pratyayanta Rupam. On the top there. Tavatu Pratyayanta Rupam. So what is the Tavatu Pratyayanta Rupam of Patadhatu?
Patitavan.
Patitavan.
Patitavati.
So, what are they? Is it a Namapadam or Kriyapadam?
Namapadam.
Namapadam.
Oh, hold on, this sharing is, I don't know why this. Namapadam. Why is it Namapadam?
It is read person.
It is not a Latlakara Rupam for a Kriya.
Yeah, it is not a lakara roopam. Okay. So what is the kala of this bhuta krudanta? Sorry, bhuta. It's a krudanta form. Why is it a krudanta form? Because the kavatu pratyaya is one of the krut pratyayas. The pratyaya added to dhatu here. So this writing is not good on the screen. But let me try again. Kavatu pratyaya. Kavatu pratyaya, which is added to a dhatu, is one of the krut pratyayas. So when we add pat plus this pratyaya, then it becomes patita. What is the first it will convert to? As I told earlier, first it will become
Pratipadikam, Patitavat.
Pratipadikam. Hold on. Patitavat. It becomes Patitavat. This is a Pratipadikam. Then later on it will change to, we have to add one of the Vibhakti Pratyayas, Supratyayas, to change it to different Vibhakti forms. And in Napumsakalinga Rupam, this one remains as in the Prathama Vibhakti Patitavat. Pratipadikam remains Patitavat. Prathama Vibhakti also Patitavat. Then the Pullinga Rupam, what is the Pratipadikam if it is Pullingam?
Patitavan.
No, Pratipadikam remains Patitavat only, or Pullingam also. Takaranta Pullinga Patitavat. Because it is Pullinga, the Prathama Vibhakti Ekavachana form changes to Patitavan. So this is like Bhavan, etc. You can look up the Shabda Manjari or on website, etc., where you can find this Takaranta Pullinga, like a Pachadhatu, you can say. But usually they give Pachadhatu. So, Pachanto, Pachanta, Patita, Paktavan, Paktavat, Paktavan, Paktavanta, Paktavan. So now, what was Strilinga? Strilinga, what is the Pratipadikam? Prathama Vibhakti Ekavachanam, you know, Strilingam. What is the Prathama Vibhakti Ekavachana form?
Patitavati.
Patitavati. So what is the Pratipadikam of that?
It's the same, Patitavat.
Patitavat.
Pratipadikam also same, Patitavati.
Pratipadikam for Strilinga also is Patitavati. This is a little bit additional step is needed if we want to go to Strilinga Pratipadikam. So Pullinga, so Napumsakalinga Pratipadikam, in this case they remain same, Patitavat. But for the Strilingam, before we add Supratyaya, for the Strilinga Pratipadikam, there is an additional Pratyaya which is added to bring it into a Strilinga Pratipadikam format first. So they are called as three Pratyayas are there, which are needed. There are 8, 9, 3 Pratyayas are there. One of them needs to be added. Like in this case, Dirgha Ikaranta. This is not the Pratyaya, this is the final Pratyaya form. There are Pratyaya called Neep, etc. That is the original name of the Pratyaya, three Pratyaya. So that needs to be added to this first in order to make it Patitavati. That is the Pratipadikam. And to that Pratipadikam, then we can add our usual Supratyayas to bring them into final Namapada form. Patitavati, like Nadi, Nadi, Nadyao, Nadya. Patitavati, Patitavatyao, Patitavatya. Like that it will go on. So now Tavatu is the one added. Now this is the Namapadam. So is there a Kala for this? Lakaras, we have this Lang Lakara.
For Krilinga, he is added to Pratitavat, no?
Yes, yeah, Patitavat. for the Napumsakalinga and Pullinga, this remains Patitavat as a Pratipadikam, no change in the Pratipadikam. But for Strilingam, we need to get the Strilinga Pratipadikam first. So then to this Patitavat, that means Pat plus Tavatu becomes Patitavat first, and to that we add this Stri Pratyaya, then it becomes Patitavati as the new Pratipadikam, which is ready to be declined by adding Supratyaya. Okay. Now, yeah, so the question is about the Kala here. Now, Kala, is there any Kala for this? This is a Namapadam, right?
No, it's a Pratipadikam, so it won't have any color.
Yeah, this is a Namapadam. Do Namapadams have Kalas, tenses?
No.
No, they don't have tenses. So this we have to clearly understand, very clearly understand. Though,
It is Visheshana, no?
yeah, exactly. Okay. So these are Visheshanam. There is no Kala here. But during the initial classes, etc., we have studied that, okay, if it is a Bhuta Kala, just you would use this like a Balakaha Shlokam Patitavan, Balika Grantham Patitavati, like this. So that is the Bhuta Kala. So technically speaking, it is not Bhuta Kala, it is a Visheshanam. So Visheshanam, we are using something like Bhuta Kala to indicate Bhuta Kala just in the beginner stage, thinking that it is easy. Sometimes you can think like that, but these are basically Visheshanam. When we say Balakaha Shlokam Patitavan, basically we are saying Balakaha Patitavan Shlokam Balaka, something. It's a Visheshanam. It's like saying, just like saying Balaka Sundaraha Asti, Balaka Patitavan Asti. Basically they are same. The boy who is red. The red boy, something like that. So we'll have to keep this in mind when we are thinking about Bhutakala. We should not say that this is the Bhutakala. This is not Bhutakala. Or Lang Lakara also. Obviously this is not Lang Lakara.
Yes, I understood very well, and I also understood that it is not it is a Visheshana Navapadam.
Yeah.
I went through all the old notes and I concluded I was mistaken. It was a misconception for me.
Thank you for raising that. This is a general, not only your case.
Yeah.
General concept.
Now it is very, very clear.
Yeah, but general concept which people are used to, because that's why you're studying Lang Lakar also. So especially, for example, let's say when we say I went home. Okay? I went home. So there it is expected to use Lang Lakara because there is an absolute action there. There is a kriya happening there. I went home. Instead of saying Aham Graham Gatavan, Aham Graham Agacham. Aham Graham Agacham. So now if I am saying here, suppose if I want to say we have studied, suppose in the morning when I started, I said I want to say we have studied Ramayanam, let's say I want to say we have studied, or during this course we have been studying the Pratyaya, Lakara, etc. So let's say I want to say we have studied, so far we have studied Pratyayas. So there this Kravatu form is more appropriate. Instead of saying, if I say what is the Lang Lakara form, Suresh Modaya? We studied Pratyayas. Samya Bhagini?
Apatat.
No, we studied Pratyayas.
Vayam pratyayah apathan
Patham.
Apatama.
Apatama.
Apatama. And again, think about why are you using pratyaha?
Abhyasa can be also a study. Abhyasa
Yeah,
can be
abhyasa
also
is repetition. Study. So patana, okay, we'll use pata. We'll stick with pata. Then apatama. But think about the pratyaya. Sorry, the vibhakti. What needs to be used on the pratyaya? Sorry, what is the other? Yeah, pratyaya. Vayam pratyaha patama. Come on, so many people. One of you found this basic sentence correctly. So if I want to say I read a book, so how are you going to study? How are you going to make it the sentence? I read a book, not read a book. I read a shloka. I read a shloka. Okay.
Shlokam 30.
Aham shlokam apatham.
Aham shlokam apatham. I read shlokas. So then
Shloka apatham.
shlokas, multiple shlokas. I read shlokas. Then
Shlokan apatham.
so we studied or we read pratyayas. Then
Prachayan.
Pratyayan, not pratyaya. Right? Pratyaya is
Pratyayan.
Prachayan.
Apatama.
we need a karma padam. Ditya Vibhakti. Vayam pratyayan apatama. So this is if I want to say we read pratyayas. But since in this case I just wanted to bring that sense, if you understand, we have studied so far the pratyayas. Then tavatu is more appropriate when I say vayam etavat paryantam, until this time. प्रत्यय विषये अतः प्रत्ययान् पठितवन्तः वयं प्रत्ययान् पठितवन्तः. So we have studied the pratyayas so far. In that case, Sarvatu is more appropriate, because if you want to indicate that the kriya is complete now, like absolute completion because of Langlakara, we studied. So finished.
स्काई आराधना को सिर्फ ₹1 में और अपने रजिस्टर्ड मोबाइल नंबर से फ्री मिस्ड कॉल दीजिए 06199 पर और ट्यून इन कीजिए अपने रिमोट से 105 पर दबाकर.
I am not able to continue.
और ये कैश की बगाता मिशन अंकिता आई कुठे काय करते सोमवार ते शनिवार संध्याकाळी 7:30 वाजता.
Lakshmikant Mohdaya, sorry, I'm. This is really annoying. You keep the line unmuted. Sorry for that. See, I don't have dual screens today. I can't see who is muted, who is unmuted. So please keep your lines muted if you're not speaking, and especially do not keep all the background noises there if you are unmuted. Okay, so that is about Lang Lakara and Kravatu. Okay, I think it is clear now. Let's move on to this dhatus. I think the Atmanepadi and Parasmepadi is clear, right? Okay. Then the many confusion is happening many times with sakarmaka and akarmaka. One of the confusion is with milati. Miladhatu, right? We have studied now. This confusion happens because these things are used in a different way in other languages, like some Indian languages and English language. So these kriya padas or dhatus are used in a different way. So that is why we are not used to it not very familiar in using them as an akarmaka or sakarmaka, how they are supposed to be used in Sanskritam. For example, we looked at ramate. Milati is one common mistake people make, not only in our class. Don't think that only we are making that mistake, not only this group, but everywhere, many outside also you see that. Milati. Kim milati? This is a question. Milati means, in many languages, means get something, obtain something. So that in Hindi, I think, or in Marathi or something. So generally that thing comes into here also, creeps here. Then we start using it like balaka, phalam milati, apane phalam milati. So these kinds of usage is not there in Sanskritam, because milati is akarmaka here. Understand, milati means meeting here. So with whom we are meeting, not what are you meeting. With whom we are meeting, that has to be brought in. Like mitraihi saha milami, like that. So mila we have seen. Now other things which are coming up here, like ramadhatu, krida also saying kridati, kandukena saha kridati, akshaihi saha kridati. Those are things we can use with kridati, with what you are playing, not what you are playing, with what. Then similarly, like ramate, which is atmanepadi also, ramate, no, ramate, just ramate, no, because of something. So just we try to see some time, yeah. We'll try to look at some lessons today from some books and go through the text. So one of the important things which we all need to do, which may not be always possible in the class, is that outside the class, take up some book, a good book, and go through it, or just read through it and try to understand how the sentences are structured. So once you start understanding, once you start going through the books and literature, writing, then you will come across these usages, how ramate is used, how this kridati is used, etc. So that is a swadhyaya, it can be done. So in the class we'll try to do to the possible extent, and the exercise also it will be there, but those may not be enough to get used to it. So ramate, balakaha ramakale ramate, like this. Not balaka is enjoying something, so we should not think like that. If you are not very much familiar, not used to reading or using these, then we tend to think them in other languages and then translate it into form, the sentences into Sanskritam. So that's where this problem comes. One is ramate. Then what is the other one I came across was this one also, vardhate. Vardhate is grow. Grow means, again, the sentence goes like balakaha vardhate, rukshaha vardhate, dhanam vardhate. So that means money is growing, or the ruksha is growing, tree is growing. We should not use it like aham dhanam vardhayam, aham ruksham vardhaya, aham ruksham vardhe, like that. No. So if you are thinking that I am growing the tree, in that sense, grow, vardhate is not used, or vardhate, vardhate, vardhante. So grow itself, it is growing. So it is like chalati chalayati. So I am, so vahanam chalati, vahana is moving. Aham vahanam chalayami, I am driving the vehicle. So similarly, we have vardhate, which itself grows. Vrikshaha vardhate. So if you want to say, I am growing the tree, that's actually I am raising the tree. I am using the alternate word. In English, it may be right when I say I am growing the tree, or I grow. Both the cases grow is used, but not here. Here vardhate means itself, it's vrikshaha vardhate. But if I want to say I am raising the tree, then we have to use the other form like chalati chalayati. Here also vardhate, we can use vardhayati. Or I am, in this case, vardhayami. Aham vruksham vardhayami. I am making it to grow. Vardhayami. So do not use vardhate with karma padam. Like aham dhanam. Dhanam vardhate. That's enough. The key here is practice, abhyasa. Somebody asked, abhyasa means study. Basically, the abhyasa is practice, practice, repetition of practice. Abhyasa, in the sense, one is the homework, other is some other books you can refer to or read through them. If you have this Bhasha Pravesha also, if some of you have bought it, so read the lessons, and you might find many of these usages. And there are other books also which later on you can read. Now, about the homework here, first there are 3 columns are given. Usually the previous homeworks were like straightforward. So fill in the gaps, or what is the bhutakala or the langakara form of some other dhatus, etc. So just simple exercises were there. Now, this one is forming the sentences. Now, here many people might face challenge here because some thinking is involved, like what goes with what, and that has to make some sense also finally. Now, for example, some of the combinations are straightforward here. So let's see. Samya Bhagini, are you there?
Mahoday.
So what is your experience? Can you share your experience in when you did this homework? Okay. What was straightforward to understand, to match these words, and where it becomes a little bit tricky? Okay, wherever it was UM, Vayam, it was easy to match it based on the sentence. For example, UM Devam Vandadve. So it was Vandadve. If you know the meaning of that, it could be either you worship God, or UM Gurum Vandadve, you worship. So those were easy. But some of them could have, like I basically tried sorting if it is sakarmakaha or akarmakaha dhatu, kriyapadam. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't using a karma padam wherever it was akarmaka. So there I needed to make sure it was, for example, dayate is akarmaka. So vimanam akashe dayate made sense. But some of the other sentences I struggled where it had to be akarmaka, but it looked like karma padam would go for it, but it didn't. Then some of them were sakarmaka, so they needed karma padam, but I couldn't match it, so there I struggled. Yeah, so where like UM, avam, these are there, at least column A and column C, that should be straightforward, because column A has the most of them are like Kartrupadam except Chatraya. That is the first word in the sentence. Kartrupadam. And column C is all Kriyapadam here. So when matching them, if it is Madhyama Purusha in column C or Uttama Purusha, Madhyama Purusha for example, Uttama Purusha, first one is Pardhavahe. That is which Purusha?
Uttama Purusha.
Uttama Purusha. And Vachanam?
Dvivachanam.
Vardhavahe Dvivachanam.
Spardhavahe Dvivachanam. Uttama Purusha Dvivachanam. So with Uttama Purusha Dvivachanam, what? The Kartrupadam must be what?
Avam.
Avam. There cannot be any other Kartrupadam for Uttama Purusha Dvivachanam. For Uttama Purusha Ekavachanam must be Aham. Uttama Purusha Dvivachanam must be Avam. Uttama Purusha Bahuvachanam must be Vayam. There cannot be any other thing. So with that knowledge from column A, you can easily select Avam. There is no other choice there with Spardhavahe. Avam Spardhavahe. Similarly, the second one, if you take Datse. So Datse, you have to find out what is the Purusha and Vachana.
Madhyama Purusha Ekavachanam.
Of or Dhatu, just for everybody's knowledge.
Dada.
Da Dhatu. Da Dhatu Ubhayapadi Dhatu Asti. So Ubhayapadi Dhatu Parasmapade Parasmapada Bhavati Dadati Dadataha Dadati. So like that, Dadati, etc. It goes in the Parasmapada form. But in Atmanedi Pada form, it goes this like Datte, Dadate, Dadate. Datse, Lat Lakara, Madhyama Purusha, Ekavachana form. Datse. So if it is a Madhyama Purusha Ekavachanam, what should be the Kartrupadam? Tvam. There is no other way, and there is no other word which can fit there. It must be Tvam. Then, similarly, if it is Madhyama Purusha Dvivachanam, it must be
Yuvam.
Yuvam is there here on column A. So in column C there has to be somewhere Madhyama Purusha Dvivachanam. And similarly Madhyama Purusha Bahuvachanam, column A must be Yum. It cannot be anything else. In column C if you find any verb with Madhyama Purusha Bahuvachanam, column A must be Yum. So that is too easy to understand. Then other things, now Prathama Purusha, like Rochate, Dayate, these are Prathama Purusha, Yachate. These one cannot be Aham, Avam, Vayam or Tvam, Yuvam, Yuyam. They cannot be. It has to be something else. So we have to look for them. That is the next step. Now, after that, as Swami Abhini said, the column C, whether it is Akarmaka, Sakarmaka, based on that in the column B, you have to select the appropriate word in the Dvitiya Bhakti. If it is Sakarmaka, it must be Dvitiya Bhakti. Otherwise, you are free to select other word, some other word, or it may not be any other word also, because it is Akarmaka in a Dvitiya Bhakti. If it is Akarmaka, it could be any other vibhakti, or there may not be any other word required, possibly. So that is the next thinking we need to do. Now the other thing is, okay, for example, let's say Vimanam Dayate, that is possible. Right? Vimanam Dayate, Vimanam Yachate, Vimanam Smayate, all those are Modate, with Pratisthate, all those are possible combinations. But now the next thing comes to understand the meaning, or the logical meaning. These are correct matches. Vimanam, we can say Yachate. Now we have to understand what is Yachate. Yachate means
begs, to beg.
No, begs or asks for something, for like a begging. Yeah? Vimanam yachate. Yeah, technically, as per Vyakaranam, it is correct. But is it logically correct? Is Vimanam, which is like an aeroplane, is it going to beg for something? Yeah, maybe in some fiction. And Smayate is going to smile. Modate, possibly it can enjoy, feel happy. Lajjate, lajjate or lajja.
To be embarrassed or shy.
Lajjate, shy, embarrassing. What is the other word?
Ashamed or something. Yeah.
Ashamed. All those are correct. Or vijayate. All these are possible. No, but now logical. Now you'll have to think what is the best combination. Now, in this case, vimanam dayate. That is a one good combination. Dayate means fly. Then what else? What other could be possible here?
I written khaga dayate.
Huh? No, but here khagaha. We are written khagaha here.
Khagaha.
And dayate is ekavachana.
Yeah, ekavachana. Yes.
So then it can't match. So
yes,
that is
yes,
what
yes.
khagaha is out.
That is a mistake.
Many of you have done a great attempt here. It's very good actually. Now, but some of you, which is okay. I mean, in this case, some of you just changed the forms just to make them match. Like for example, I have seen some of you changing bhakshayamahe to bhakshayami, yeah, and make the sentence. This one I am doing, but here the question was like to use these words and form the sentences. Then vimanam dayate, that fits the most here, appropriate, because nothing else we want to say. Now, the second column, vimanam dayate, yes, we can leave it like that. Or whether it's anything what fits in column B, yes, it can say vimanam dayate, it flies. Dayate means, where can it fly? Dolayam? No. Dolayam I wanted to write the meaning, but I forgot. But many of you have found out Dolayam, and you asked in the group also. Dolayam means swing. Is it flying in the swing? No. Doesn't feel like that. Then Shighram dayate, one possibility. Now these many matches could be there, as Girija Bhagini has said that, yeah, everything looks correct. Yes, they look correct. But now, keeping these combinations still as a possibility, now we'll have to start looking at other words also. Like vimanam, akasha dayate is one combination. Vimanaha.
Pratisthate, I did not know the meaning was departs. So can we use pratisthate with vimanam?
Yeah, we can use, no problem. You can use that. That is one possibility. But then you have to look at other possibilities also here. Keeping that also combination into possibility here. Now, what happens when we start using Shatruhu, Viraha, Shushuhu, etc.? Are there any other things in the column C? Because the idea of this exercise was to use one, at least one Kriyapada only one time. So Vimanam also Pratisthate possible, and then Vahanam also Pratisthate possible. So all the possibilities are there. But if you just use Pratisthate for multiple things, then other Kriyapadas may not be used in your answers. So what is the best match? We'll have to check that first. So, and there could be multiple best matches also. It's not that only one best match could be there. Then in that case, yes, there could be those matches also. Like Vimanam, for example, in the second one, we are talking about Yanartham dayate, that is possible. Akasha dayate, Sthanakat dayate, everything, Ratro dayate, everything is possible. Now, but keeping all those things open, then what about the other? Like for example, Shatruhu. If you start using Shatruhu now, or let's say with dayate, what else can be dayate? Dayate is flying. Shatruhu it does not seem right. Dayate, out because it is Madhyama Purusha. The dayate is Prathama Purusha. Can't be there. Viraha dayate, yeah, could be, but doesn't seem possible. Like Shishuhu dayate, we don't want. Then avam, yuvam out to question. Mitre, is it a possibility of dayate?
No, it is dvivachana. So
Dvivachanam, because mitram mitre. So dayate is ekvachanam. Without kagaha, is it possible? No. Shuraha, no. Chatra, chatraya, out. Vahanam, vimanam is also vahanam, is possibly. Vayam out, tam out, nakshatrani out. Vimanam, yes, dayate. That is the only thing possible there.
Mitre ratrau dayate.
No, dayate is, so remember you have to match the not only purusha but vachanam also, right? What is dayate vachanam, mitre vachanam?
Mitrau is two friends flying at night.
What is dayate? Vachanam of dayate. Ekavachanam, dvivachanam, bahuvachanam.
Ekavachanam. Yes,
So,
sorry.
two friends cannot fly as a single. Mitre, dayate, it does match because of vachanam. Okay, Bhagini? Bhagini, Mangala Bhagini.
Yes, Mahodaya, I got it. That vachana of the third column will not be correct.
Yeah, vachanam of the kartrupadam has to match with the vachanam of the kriyapadam.
Mahodaya, how I wrote the meanings of all the words, then I tried to match them.
Yeah, but then, yes, then first thing, those steps we just now saw. First is that you have to be aware of the purusha first. With that, some of them things will be clear. Then the vachanam, then the other things will be clear. Then the logical meaning, whether it makes sense. If the vimanam is yachate, like that, it doesn't make sense. So those things are the steps here.
Okay. Dhanyavadaha, Mahodaya.
Mahodaya, some of the confusing things is when we looked up the meaning, like parabhavat, it gives meanings like endure, hurt, heal, succumb, conquer, success. So, both opposites. So that's where the confusion comes. You're not too sure which is the correct meaning of it.
Your volume was very low for me, but I could hear about parabhavat. You are asking something.
Yeah, parabhavat. When I looked up the this meaning there, it gave meanings like endure, hurt, yield, succumb, conquer, success. So you have both opposites. So you're a little confused as to which one would be the appropriate meaning, Mahodaya.
Yeah.
you may have parabhavat.
Apavaraha.
Bhavat versus bhavat, meaning changes a lot.
Yeah. That is one thing Bhagini was saying. Note that this is important, that there is a va here, not va. Parabhavat. You might have looked at
Parabhavat only. I mean, basically I took the whole text, I copied it on. So when you see a lot of meanings, the confusion comes as to which one would be more appropriate.
Yeah. Yes, possibly parabhavat, when you typed, copied and looked, I don't know where you looked, because this parabhavat is panchami bhakti. So
I saw two things. One is Ashtadhyayi and the other is learn Sanskrit.cc, both.
Yeah, you see, any of the dictionaries, they do not give the direct meaning of this panchami bhakti. So I doubt what it showed. So one parabhavat, they might have interpreted as parabhavat or something. But anyway, the meanings are similar. What you have found out, meanings is not different. Meaning is same. But here it is, you have to note this is parabhavat is panchami bhakti. If it is parabhavat, what will it become? Parabhavat. what form it is. Meaning is similar. It's like a parabhavat. Parabhava means apamana. What is the other one say?
Anadaraha.
Anadaraha. Or parabhava is defeat, basically. So parabhavat, what is the form?
Tavatu
form.
Okay, yeah. And what else? Abhavat, just abhavat.
Lang lakara.
Lang lakara.
Lang lakara.
Parabhavat is also lang lakara. With para. With para is the upasarga. Yeah. But here parabhavat is panchami bhakti, which is a namapadam. What is the pratipadikam here?
Parabhava.
Parabhava. Like Rama, parabhava. Pullinga, parabhava. In Eka Pratama Bhakti. Parabhava. Parabhava is defeat, is widely used. So that is another key thing. I should have written the meaning here. And when we read more and more, then we come across these, understand these meanings better. One way is to look at the dictionary. What are the meanings again? Hurt. Was it hurt? Defeat? Or what?
Yeah, hurt. The other meaning is hurt.
Yeah, you can take it hurt also, for example. Hurt in the sense that is a problem. Like when we look at these English dictionaries, we actually do not really get to know the concept or the context in what it is used in Sanskritam. Hurt is okay. Like when we use hurt in English, use hurt in different contexts, like hurt, bodily injury, that is also hurt. Then somebody is hurting me, that is also hurt. Right? Somebody hurting me indicates what? Somebody that hurting means it indicates he is saying some bad things to me, or which will lead to some my defeat in some maybe.
It's hurting sentiments in a way.
Sentiment, exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Hurting sentiments, like that. So that way hurt is used. So if you look, for example, so you want to say something is close to me. You want to say, let's, for example, I come across this look up problem before. So I want to say some shop is close to me. So if you want to translate that, I know the English sentence, so that is it's close means near, right? So if you look up this, so I want to use this sentence, I want to convert this into Sanskritam. So generally what people do is they don't know how to use close. I know shop is close to me. Shop, they know apana, and then close. What is close? So if you look up dictionary, then it will show. Very weird thing.
Samipa.
Samipa, because now we know, but people do not
it
know.
can mean closed means it can mean shut also. The shop is shut.
Yeah, shut. Like if you look at English Sanskrit dictionaries, then they give different meanings, different words for Sanskrit, which means close. Then it will be difficult to pick what is the right word, because if we don't know. Because generally if you look up close, they may not give samipa, because close generally means shut. So they can give the pihitam or something like that. So then apanaha mama pihitam asti, something, the weird sentence forms. So we need to be careful in using these dictionaries. So dictionary is the first step, but the context won't be clear there. Now, similarly, close is also like one of the There was another example I'll tell you later.
Closer is used in baseball.
Huh?
Baseball, they use closer as a person who does the pitching.
Yeah.
Another meaning can be Atmiya Bandhu, like someone very close to me.
Yeah. So at the outset, it is okay. So if we want to refer to those Sanskrit, English, Sanskrit kind of dictionary or any other language, if it is like a Indian language dictionary, it is better. Like Sanskrit to some Indian language or Indian language to Sanskrit, but they are much closer in relationship. As we go out of this circle of languages, then the context and it becomes more and fuzzier. So that's why that is the first step. Then it is important to get used to this more and more reading. That is the key basically. I am emphasizing on reading rather than Sambhashanam, because Sambhashanam we are not experts. Nobody is expert how to use Sanskrit. So from learning from reading, then we can use that in Sanskrit, in Sambhashanam or writing. Sambhashanam, writing, they are the outputs. First we need the input, reading and listening. And this nowadays listening is not possible for a good Sanskrit. Basically we have the reference only as the reading material, and that's why we have to refer to a good book. Good book in the sense the definition is different. Anyway, so we need to find a good source and then start getting accustomed to that, right? Because then we get the correct idea. Now the other question I remember was about dhanam.
Are there any digital books? Are there any digital books?
Yeah, there are scanned. Free digital books. One of them I'll show you today. The one question was about dhanam, I think, right, Suresh Mahodaya? How do you know it is prathama vibhakti or dithiya vibhakti? Yes, if we just look at the standalone word dhanam, is not possible. Obviously not possible. So again, the context is the key here. So there are many vibhakti rupas. We know that just by looking at the word, it's not possible to know what vibhakti it is. Like in the Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami, Dvivachanam is same. And Chaturthi, Chaturthi, Panchami, Bahuvachanam is same. Shashti, Saptami, Dvivachanam is same. So how do we know that? And many in Napunsakalinga, Ditya Bhakti, Prathama Bhakti, all the forms are same. How do we know? There's no way to know. So context is very important here. So, so this particular homework highlights the fact that context is important, and if this homework was not supposed to be finished in 1 or 2 days. You have to take your time and really understand all these factors discussed and what is meaning and context, then arrive at probabilities, combinations, different combinations, then from those combinations then select what looks right logically. Again, there may not be one single right answer, there could be multiple, but I have tried to reduce that possibility here, to reduce the confusion. So possibly there is only one most logical answer here.
Dhanam yachate. Dhanam yachate.
Dhanam yachate. Kaha dhanam yachate? The question, right? So Kartrupam is also needed here. So what goes with dhanam yachate just as the kartru? Who is yachate? Who is begging?
Yachaka.
Yachaka is not there in the first column. Vimanam, no possibly. Shatruhu, probably, but not. There are other better things to do for Shatru. Why yachate? Yeah.
Shadraha yachate. Shadraha.
छात्रः छात्रः
No. So now it's a possibility. Chatraha dhanam yachate. Yeah, technically possible, but generally,
meaningless.
Student generally don't ask for money. Yeah, possibility there. So that's why you have to keep this open when you are attempting the homework. Then go next. Now, try forming other sentences. If there is chhatraha can do something better, can you do something better other than yachate? You have to think that. Chhatra, what possibly he can do? He can do yachate or smayate, modate, lajjate, vijayate, other things possible, right? Dayate. And there is also, you have to think, there is another possibility, datse. Datse is giving. Danam karoti, danam karoshi, iti datse. So there, somebody is giving dhanam, yes, that's a possibility, right? Yachate, dhanam yachate is a possibility, and dhanam giving is also a possibility. So there are two possibilities here. Dhanam datse, dhanam yachate. Now you'll have to think of other possibilities where what fits here in this giving with the given words. Now the chatraya dhanam datse, with datse, if it is datse, so somebody has to be, datse is in what? Madhyama Purusha.
Madhyama Purusha ekavachana, so only tvam is first.
Only tvam possible. So tvam dhanam datse, that is one logical. Now other logical could be chatraya dhanam datse. That is another possibility. Chatraya dhanam datse. Without actually saying the tvam, we can just say chatraya. You are giving money to a student. So that is another possibility. But there is a rochate sitting there. Right? Rochate in the column C. So something is pleasing somebody. Pleasing for someone. So for someone we know that chatraya, for rochate, then we need a chaturthi vibhakti. So chatraya something rochate is a good combination because we don't say anything in chaturthi vibhakti in column A. Chatraya something rochate, that's a good combination. Because with rochate we need a chaturthi vibhakti word somewhere. In the column B, is there a chaturthi vibhakti word? Do you see any chaturthi in column B?
No, there is no other chaturthi.
No.
There is no other. So that rochate and the chatraya, we'll have to combine them for the best combination. Now, what is pleasing for chatra? Then we'll have to find out for column B. Chatraya, dhanam. Everybody loves dhanam, but we don't want to associate that with the vidyarthi. Then what else? No. Now in column B, now we have, if you want to combine chatra and rochate, the third word should be in what vibhakti? With rochate.
Pathanam rochate.
Panchami vibhakti.
Yeah. Which vibhakti?
Panchami vibhakti, because of
Panchami with rochate?
Rochate is a chaturthi vibhakti.
Yeah, chaturthi we got. Chatraya rochate, that we want to combine. Now we want the third word, right? What is pleasing for him? So that, what is pleasing, that word should be in which vibhakti?
Ditiya.
Any other answers?
It should be in Prathama vibhakti.
Yeah, Prathama vibhakti. This is what we studied before. You have to remember. We have studied rochate. So how do we form rochate with the sentence with the rochate? Katham bhavati vakyam?
Atmanepadi it is.
Atmanepadi one. Even before it is Atmanepadi, this rochate was introduced in the L1 class actually, if you remember. Then also we studied, I think, in some classes here also in this course.
Yeah, dugdham, chhatraya dugdham rochate.
Something like that. Is there a dugdham here? No.
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 Patanam. Dhanam is possibly Devam not possible because it is Ditya Bhakti. So Balaka likes sweet. So in this sentence, if we literally try to translate it with rochate, then it gets messed up. So if you want to do it in English sentence, it is like we have to use like a pleasing. Sweet is pleasing for the boy. Sweet is pleasing for the boy. So if you translate this with rochate, what will be the sentence?
Madhuram.
Madhuram chhatraya rochate.
Here Madhuram is Prathama Vibhakti. Remember that. It's not Ditya.
Yes.
It's not. Rochate is karmaka. Rochate karmaka. It is pleasing for somebody. That's why you don't want to use that English sentence like likes. I like this. Then it becomes confusing that it is Ditya. It is a karma padamasti. I like something. So rochate has a different context. We have studied this in detail. I think remember that in this class only. So it is pleasing for somebody. The pleasing action has to be done by that madhuram, sweet. So it is a karta. Madhuram is a karta, and here pathanam is the karta, kartrupadam. So chhatraya pathanam rochate. Reading is pleasing for chhatra.
Yeah. Reading is joyful for the student, something like that.
Right. Rochate is basically coming for ruchi. Ruchihi asti. Mama pathane ruchihi asti. That way also we can form the sentence. Ruchi means has a taste in it. Here rochate is tasteful for. Mama mahyam madhuram rochate. Something is tasteful for me. Okay, so that way you can form the sentences. Now,
Mahoday, can I ask about a different question? For lajjate, here parabhavat lajjate, usually does it always come with panchami only, lajjate?
No, it could be other
forms also,
but not Ditya.
Not Dvitiya, yeah. Okay.
Now, other thing which again I meant to. It is possible, but generally Panchami is better because we are not. Lajjate is ashamed. I'm feeling ashamed. Because of what? That is a general question, right? You may be feeling ashamed for somebody, then maybe Chaturthi can be used, but generally we don't do that.
So, Mahoday, if lajjate is usually with Panchami, if I wanted to say Veeraha, instead of Parabhavat, if he won the war, Santushtate, then that also will follow Panchami only?
Yeah, Santushyati.
Santushyati. So instead of Vijayat or Jayat Santushtati, is that how it would be?
Santushyati, sure.
Santushyati, sorry.
Tushyati.
Okay, I thought Santushtati, so Santushyati, okay. So will it be Jayat Santushyati?
Yeah, Jayat, Karanam asti.
Okay, okay. Dhanyavada.
Now, Other thing, Viramanti is the not the Atmanepadi here, because we talked about it last time. Ramate, right? That is the Ramate with the Upasarga V, then it becomes the changes to Atmanepadi. Okay. So with this, we'll continue further here now. Hindete is Atanam. Sorry, somebody asked in the group also. Hindanam. Lakshmikant Mahodaya, are you there? Hello? Hindate means Brahmati Atati. It is on mute. Okay. So I just wanted to show here with some upasargas. We know last time we looked at how this padas changes in certain cases. Now, is there a rule? There is no Vyakarana. Vyakarana rule is maybe there. I mean, but it is basically prayoga, vashat, prayoga balateva, jnayate. Katham etesham prayoga bhavati, padam, कीदृशं पदं भवति आत्मनेपदम् अथवा परस्मैपदम् इति. So one of the things I want to bring up here on such example, how weird it could be, like we know vrut vartate, right? Vrut dhatu, to be or to exist, vartate, adya vargaha vartate. That way we know. So what is the vrut dhatuh? Tasya padam kimasti? Atmanepadam va परस्मैपदम् अस्ति वृत्त धातुः. कीदृशं पदम्?
वर्धन्ते
आत्मनेपदम्. No, I think Bhagini is, my question is vrit, not vruddh. The one which is shown on the screen here. Vrit dhatuः asya padam asti atmanepadam. Atmanepadi dhatuः vrit. Asya rupani bhavanti latlakare vartate vartete vartante. This we have seen. But look at the special here. So what is given here? AOR. In this there is a comment or some note here. This verb is optionally parasmaipada in the, I don't know how to say this, or is future conditional or whatever the next desiderative. So what we are interested in this future. As we know this rit takara, samanya bhutakala, we know. So vartate in the future tense, which is a rit lakara, what might be its form? Like, for example, you take this padhati becomes patishyati in rit lakara, vardhate becomes vardhishyati.
Vruddhate.
Vardhate lat lakara. Bhavishyat kala, we have to add that sha. That sha is like kamishyati. Here also sha comes into the picture. Sha. Like, what are the other? Vardha. Vardhishyate is fine. Now we are talking about vrut, vartate, ta, takara. We are not talking about ta. So let's see what is this note means here. What is the weird thing happening here? So here they are saying this verb is optionally parasmaipada in the future tense. Let's forget about the other things here. Let's talk about future. It is optionally parasmaipada in the future tense. And do not take e in the parasmaipada sentence also. This is also important. So let's look at the forms here which are given here. So what this note says, once again, this verb is optionally parasmaipada in future tense and do not take e in the parasmaipada tenses. E means that state, wait, we studied on it, that e. For example, gum, if it is gum, in Rit Lakara it is Gamishyati. There is E there, Gamishyati, right? But if it is Drish, what is the Rit Lakara Drish?
Drishyati.
Drishyati. Drishyati.
What is it?
Drishyati.
Oh, Drakshati.
Drishyati.
Drakshati. And Pachadhatu, Pakshati. There is no E there. There is no E. So without E, those are the anit. And with E, the Gamishyati, Patishyati, E, they are set. So in this case, what with the vrut they are saying is, in the future tense, optionally parasmay pada, but and when it is parasmay pada, there is no E. It becomes anit. So we'll see the forms here of future tense. Where is the future here? First one only. Here. You look at the form here. Vachyati, vartishyate. Right? So what does it mean? Vrit dhatu, which is basically atmanepadi dhatu, but in the future tense, which is a samanya bhavishyat rit lakara, optionally parasmay pada. So there are two forms. Both the forms are correct. Parasmay pada and atmanepada. So if it is atmanepada, not just like generally like vartishyate, it becomes vartishyate, right? Which is shown here. Vartishyate. But optionally, it also can be parasmay pada. In that case, it becomes varchyati. Varchyati. Okay. Mute, please. Whoever joined us, mute. Hello. We are just wasting our time. Mute, please. Okay. So optionally, it is parasmayapadi also. Though the dhatu is atmanepadi, generally it becomes vartishyate. You see the E coming in between? E, vartishyati, vartishyate. But optionally it can also take only this dhatu, vrit dhatu speciality, vaishishtyam asti, in the future tense only, and few other things they have given. It can also be parasmay pada, and when it becomes parasmay pada, there is no E, there is anit. So it is not vartishyati, but varchyati, like drakshati, pakshati, like that, varchyati, no E. So these kind of weird things are happening here. So I just wanted to highlight. And if you come across varchyati somewhere in reading somewhere, let's say, varchyati. So what is the dhatu? Vrit dhatu. And what is vrit dhatu? Atmanepadi dhatu. Why is it varchyati? Because it is a special case. Right? So we need to understand such special things about certain dhatus. Sometimes not only in case of upasarga, they are changing the padas, but in such cases also, like when it is in future tense, like it becomes parasmay pada, and when it is parasmay pada, it is anit. So these are some strange things happening here. Okay, doing good. Let's move ahead.
I just wanted to know wait or anit clarification and once again. Wait anit. Wait and anit, that clarification I just wanted.
Yeah, wait. For example, if it is gam dhatu, what is the lut lakara form? Future tense, bhavishyat kala.
Gamishyati.
Gamishyati. So if it is Gamishyati, we are adding, there is a E, right? Gami. It is becoming Gami. Gamishyati. Whereas in the Latlaka, it is Gachati. There is no E there. In the Latlakara, there is Gam E. Gam E Shati. We are adding E there. So that is why it is called Set Dhatu. The Dhatu is Set. Set means it needs E in the future tense. Okay? But if it is anit, then we are not going to add E. For example, pach dhatu or drish dhatu. If you are saying drish, in the lat lakara it is pashyati, and in the rit lakara, in the bhavishyat kala, it becomes drakshati, not pashishyati or drashishyati, not like that. There is no e there. There is just drakshati. Without adding e, we just add shati to the drish dhatu, it becomes drakshati. So when we are not adding e to the dhatu to form the rit lakara form or the bhavishyat kala form, if we do not add e in between, then it is anit, no e in between. So if you add e, then it is said. If you do not add e, then it is anit. If we add means what? Adding or not adding is not in our hands, not as we feel comfortable, but as per the rules of what? Rules of Vyakaranam, or how the prayoga is there already in Sanskritam. So as per that, we need to add. We need to add either e or we should not add e, depending on its final form.
Adding e is set or wet?
Set. Adding e is set.
Set.
Not adding e is anit. And there are some dhatus which are optionally take e. They are wet. Either we can add e or optionally do not add e. Those are wet. So one example we saw last time, I don't remember now. You can find out on astadhyaya.com which are wet. It's easy to find out. You can just filter the set and it. We'll do that. I just wanted to quickly show you this book before we close today. So this book is downloaded from archive.org, very old book. You can also download, or I can make it available for download. So this is Sanskrita Prathama Bhaga, something from Ranganatha Sharma. So this is also good. I mean, this is not like a textbooks which we find today. This was also like a textbooks in those times, with a different approach to the study. But anyway, this is mainly for understanding the formation of the sentences and the usage of the words. This is one of the good books which we can use. There are some places where sandhi has been used here in between. The
name of the book is not there.
It is on the top there. Sanskrit Prathama. I'll send it in the email. So,
which are other good books which we can take purchase and
purchase? One Bhasha Pravesh already purchased. You can read. If you have purchased, you read through it. And right now, which one is good for purchase? I'm not sure. I'll have to really review them. But some of the things which I'm already familiar with the books, which one of them is this one. You can, if you want, you can download and go through this. Somewhere in some places there are sandhis between two words here, which many times they are easy to understand. But for example, here, who wants to read this Sambhashanam here? Quickly, let's finish this Sambhashanam.
I can read Bhagavad.
I'll read one.
You become Shankara, she can become Govinda. Okay. Shankara.
Mitra agacha. Asmin kate nipida.
Nishida.
Sankara, kam tada. Mahoday, can you zoom a little bit? Tada tatra grihe vartate.
Nahi sa idanim aapanam gataha. Api vaktavyam asti kinchit.
One second. So Shankara vadati prathama vakyam mitra agacha. So I hope you all understand these words in the sense. Meaning is one thing, also the form. The forms are, I'm sure we all should know this. Like for example, mitra. Mitra is, what is the vibhakti there? Mitra agacha. Mitra.
Sambodhana.
Sambodhana. Yeah, please. This will help us to recall. So if we have forgotten So go back and try to find out. These are, we already studied this, Kalvan to everywhere. Mitra, Sambodhanam, Agacha, Lot Lakara, right? Asmin, Asmin means Etasmin. Asmin we might not be familiar, many of us. Asmin means Etasmin, Kate. Kate is like a mat. Kate, Nishida. Nishida means Upavisha. So it may be new word this. Nishida means Upavisha. Sit down. Govindaha. Shankara, again Sambodhanam, Kim Tavagraja Grubhe Vartate. This is a question. Kim Tavagraja Grubhe Vartate. So here I understand the meaning of
Sandhi, right? Tava Agrajaha.
Correct. Sandhi. Because in those times, sandhis were very common. They are supposed to be already known. So they just, in those books, old books, they just give it a sandhi. Tava Agrajaha. Tava Agrajaha. You know, Tava. Kim Tava Agrajaha Grihe Vartate. So now, if you don't understand the context of this Kim, then it will be sometimes difficult. Kim means what, you know. Kim is like Kim Ke Kani. In that way also. But here, Kim is the question mark. It is the abhyam here. Kim Tavagraja Grihe Vartate. So nowadays, it has become a fashion to ask Tavagraja Grihe Vartate Va. If you want to ask the question, which is incorrect. You see these books, how they are nicely written. These are the correct way to ask the question. This is the correct way. We should not use Va for the questions all the time. Kim Tavagraja Grihe Vartate is the question. Okay, next one, Nahi. Nahi is like no. Nahi is also abhyam. Saha. Saha is the Saha Vibhakti is gone here because of the Sandhi.
Saha Nahi is Sanskrit. Nahi Sanskrit.
Yeah, Nahi Sanskritam. Nahi Sanskritam is, even no is also Sanskritam. There is a no word. No. Just no. No means also no only. That is also Sanskritam. Nahi. Saha idanim apanam gataha. Api vaktavayamasti kinchit. Here also, see how the question is asked here. They are not using why. Api vaktavayamasti. Api means in addition. Api vaktavayamasti question kinchit. That is also a way of asking question. Api vaktavayamasti. Do not try to translate that api word to word. Api means also. It doesn't mean like that here. Api is just a question forming word. Api vaktavayamasti kinchit. Means, is there anything to say? Api vaktavayamasti kinchit. Is there anything to vaktavayam means something to be said. Vaktavayamasti kinchit. Okay, next one.
Mama भ्रातुरेकं पुस्तकं त्वाग्रजस्य निकटे वर्तते तत् पुस्तकं तवाग्रजस्य
You just separated Tava and Agrajasya. Nikate
वर्तते तत् पुस्तकं नेतुमहं गच्छामि.
Okay, so these are combining here. So, but main thing I wanted to show this. They'll show this sample here. Many of the words, the Kriyapadam here, like Vartate, which is Atmanepadi, which we are familiar. And the other one is like this is Bhasha. And there are some sandhis here which we need to separate. This one will continue next week, but let me show the next lesson in this book here. So this may be easy for many of you, where there are lesser number of sandhis. So you can also read this once you download this. Try to read this. Now we'll also go through this one of them at least in the next class. In these, for example, Ashvaha Heshate. Ashvaha, Ashvaha Heshate. Heshate means the sound how horse makes is Heshate. Hesharo, it's called Hesha. Hesharava. Ashvaha Heshate. So that's an Atmanepadi dhatu, right? So there are many Atmanepadi dhatus used here, and already we have familiar with like Vahanti, etc.
What is Heshate, Mahodaya?
What is Heshate, Mahodaya?
The sound made by horse is called Heshate.
Yeah.
Neighing. Horses neighing.
Yes, exactly.
What is in English? Haying, maying.
N-E-I-G-H, neigh.
Oh,
Neighing.
Yeah. The sound made by horse, the horse when it screams, Heshate. Okay, so we'll do one of the lessons next week. But you see many Atmanepada words like Yudhyante, like Heshate, etc. You come across. So this is like a general reading which might be useful, not only focusing on just Atmanepada words, but any text we come across, we should be able to understand with the knowledge we have so far. Like because there are many Parasmapada words also, Vibhaktis also, Rajakaha.
खुराः गदर्पस्यापि खुराः एवमेव.
Kura, we'll see the next sentence. Kura means the end of those feet. What is it called? At the bottom of the feet, they have this.
Okay, I got it.
Hard part.
Yeah.
Kathinaha bhavanti. Kathinaha santi. So, Rajakaha, Gardhabhahi. These are some different understanding the different vibhaktis here, and then trying to make the sense out of it. Rajakaha, Gardhabhahi, Vastrani, Vahayanti. What that mean? Rajaka means the, what are they? Washermen. Gardhabhahi, Vastrani, Vahayanti. Means they make them.
Many words are combined here, Mahodaya.
Where?
In these Sandhi you said, no? So there is combination of many words.
No, here in this particular lesson, there are not many. Only two I am saying which are very simple. Dhavitum ekaha.
Gardhabasya is there.
Yeah, Gardhabasya api and Bhavitum Mesha. Otherwise, they are all separate and simple. And there is one more.
Two A makes one A.
Ashwan Aruhya. Otherwise, they are all separate. At least the ones which are separately given here, we should be able to understand.
Namandarani is there. Namandarani.
It is single Namantarani.
Namandarani.
Single word. Ramantarani. Namantaram.
Paryaya Padani.
They are single word combined. Rajakaha.
That is clear.
There is no sandhi there. Rajakaha Gardhabhahi Vastrani Vahayanti. This thing, at least looking at one sentence, what is its meaning, we should be able to understand, right? Like Gardvasya Buddhi Manda. Do you understand what does that mean?
Yeah.
Donkey is not intelligent. Donkey is not intelligent.
Yeah. So
the dull-witted.
Dull-witted.
So if you understand, yeah, that's good enough. Like Ashwasya Tutti.
What is Ratati? Svarena Ratati.
Ratati.
By heart. It is do by heart.
That is very nice.
That's the sound that donkeys make. Braying, what we call it.
See, so again, try to look again. This Ratati. Now you got this good source, Ashtadhyayi.com. Look up. You can type Ratati there. Now Ratati, somebody said by heart. Somebody said the sound. Somebody something. So here Ratati original meaning. So go back. Now again, the context is important here. Ratati. So aham ratanam karomi. So nowadays ratanam karomi is generally used by heart. It's not actually by heart. Ratana means making sound basically. Sound. Making sound. So if you look at Ashtadhyayi.com, I think it will give the meaning, the original meaning of the dhatu, the rat dhatu.
I think just like Ashvaha Heshate, Gardhabhaha Ratati.
No, Gardhabha not Ratati. Here Gardhabha Vikrutena Swarena Ratati. So they have qualified it. What kind of sound it makes? Vikrutena Swarena Ratati. With Vikruta means twisted or
As is making strange sound.
Vikrutena swarena, Vitra swarena. Swarena means dhvani. Karkasha. Not a pleasing sound. Vikrutena swarena ratati. So with that sound, you know the Tritiya Vibhakti is there. Vikrutena swarena ratati. It makes the sound with that kind of dhvani. What did you say? Unpleasant. What is that? Karkasha. Karkasha.
Harsh.
So here Vikruta doesn't actually mean harsh or karkasha. Vikruta means twisted. Like something is Vikruta.
Roaring. Roar.
Distorted, right. That's the right word. Distorted. Yeah. Distorted sound. So, but in this case, we'll have to understand what it distorted means. What distorted means not like what the cows make the sound. It's like something not musical exactly, but it's not hard also, not karkasha also.
Not pleasing.
Yeah, not pleasing. Okay. Anyway, we'll stop here today. So already time. We'll meet next week. Dhanyawada.
Dhanyawad.
Lesson.
Pustakam English Dhatu Kosha Shastriya.
Yeah, Dhatu Kosha Shastri is already downloadable on the site, and the other one, this book, I can make it downloadable. Dhatu Kosha Shastri.
Like Mahodaya, only reading the book homework, Mahodaya, this week.
Please give on Gurupara on this Bhasha Bodha.
So if you see my screen here, this on the resources tab. Yeah, if you stop. Yeah, so if you see here the resources tab, you see the resources tab.
Yeah.
Yeah, so use grammar or study books to download. Yeah, this one. Second, number 2, use the Dhatu Kosha showing Shastri. So you can download. If you click this link, it will download it for PDF.
Yeah, I downloaded the PDF. It's very difficult to read.
Yeah, whoever wants to download, and otherwise you have astadhyay.com for direct research.
How to locating a word is very difficult.
Where? Astadhyay?
In Dhatu Kosha, locating by scrolling, we have to do. Is there any other method, sir? Can we locate any particular word in Dhatu Kosha?
Dhatu Kosha, first you have to know Dhatu. That is the problem, right? Dhatu Kosha, if you want to look, you have to know the Dhatu, and then in
yes,
Dhatu,
we have to know
they are listed alphabetically. But otherwise,
no.
On the website astadhyay.com, there is no need to know the dhatu. If you directly type ratati, it will take you to the dhatu.
Yeah.
No, even if we know the dhatu, we have to scroll it and find it. Now, is there any other way to just type and get that dhatu?
No, because these are the scanned ones. We can't search. These are the scanned ones. We have to scroll. And it is easy because this is alphabetic. It's not that hard. So
alphabetic, but too much is there, sir.
Yeah, okay. Dhanyawada.
Namaskara.
Dhanyawada, Mahoday.
Dhatu Kosha book is not for reading, na?